All right, let's jump right in. There's a revolution happening, not out on the streets, but right in your pocket, in your camera bag, and in studios everywhere. We're going to break down how this wave of new technology is completely remaking the world of photography.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. Is that camera you love, or even the super advanced one in your phone, already a relic? I know, it sounds a little extreme, right? But things are changing so fast, it's a question you really have to ask. Okay, so to figure that out, let's pull back and look at the big picture. We're starting at what you could call photography's next frontier to see how technology is literally creating a brand new way of seeing, a new visual language. And this quote from ProEDU just nails it. The point isn't that tech is here to replace photographers. Not at all. It's about opening up entirely new worlds for creativity. It's all about possibility, not about making things obsolete. So, what kind of tech are we talking about here? Well, there's AI that can, magically sharpen a blurry photo after you've taken it. There's computational photography, which is where your camera or phone is smart enough to combine multiple images into one single perfect shot. And then there's the huge cultural stuff, like how social media and all this user-generated content has totally changed our idea of what a good photo even is. And this right here is the absolute game changer. For decades, it was all about the hardware, the biggest lens, the best camera body, but now the real magic is happening in the software. That's how even basic cameras can now crank out these mind-blowing images. The rules of the game have been completely rewritten. So that brings up a really interesting question. If you're an industry giant, a household name like Canon, how do you even navigate this new world? Well, let's take a look inside their massive strategic pivot from just a camera company to a full-blown tech powerhouse. And wow, what a pivot it's been. Just look at this number from their 2024 annual report. 4.5 trillion yen in net sales. To put that in perspective, that's over 28 billion US dollars. And get this, they hit their 5-year target a whole year ahead of schedule. This is not a company that's just surviving, it's absolutely thriving by changing its DNA. So how'd they pull it off? This quote from their CEO, Fujio Matarai, really gets to the heart of it. He talks about profit-oriented management. But for Canon, profit isn't just about making money. It's the fuel. It's the engine that funds all the crazy R&D you need to create the next big thing that we're all waiting for. No profit, no innovation. It's that simple. And this chart shows you that strategy in plain sight. When you hear Canon, you probably think cameras, right? That's the 21.4% imaging slice. But look at the whole pie. Printing is by far their biggest business. And they have these huge, growing segments in medical tech and industrial equipment. That diversification, that's their secret weapon. It's their shield and their engine for growth. Let me make this even clearer. On the left, you've got the iconic Canon camera. We all know it, we all recognize it. But on the right, that machine, that's a piece of Canon's nano imprint lithography equipment. It's used to make next-gen semiconductors. I mean, it is about as far away from a family vacation camera as you can get. And that just shows you the incredible range of what Canon is today. And you gotta understand, this did not happen by accident. It's all part of a very deliberate plan they call a grand strategic transformation. That means they went out, they made major acquisitions, and they consciously pushed themselves into completely new industries. They are actively and very successfully remaking who they are. Okay, so we've seen the high-level tech trends, we've seen how a corporate giant is responding, but what does this revolution actually look like on the ground? For that, let's zoom into the photography market in France, which gives us some really fascinating real-world examples. First things first, this is a serious market. We're talking 1.7 billion euros a year. This isn't just some side hobby, it's a major part of the economy where all these new trends are playing out right now. And here is a perfect, delicious example. Thanks to platforms like Instagram, culinary photography has just exploded. It's not just a picture of your meal anymore. For famous restaurants in Paris, like Le Grand Vefour, it's a key marketing tool to tell a story and get people in the door. New technology is also creating totally new services. Drones are now a huge part of wedding photography in France. Why? Because they add that cinematographic touch, that big, sweeping shot that modern couples are looking for. It's a product that literally didn't exist a decade ago. There's also this huge cultural shift happening. The whole look and feel of social media has trained our eyes to value authenticity. So now, brands and everyday people in France are ditching the perfectly staged, glossy photos. What they want are real, unposed, in-the-moment kinds of shots.
And of course, all this changes how photographers actually make a living. In a market that's getting more and more competitive, freelancers are moving away from just charging by the hour. They're creating flexible, value-based packages, like this example of a wedding prestige pack for 1,800 euros. It's about selling the total value you deliver, not just the time you spend behind the camera.
Okay, so we've looked at the global tech, we've seen the corporate response, and we've seen the impact on the street. Now for the fun part, let's connect all those dots and spell out the new rules of photography for today.
This is where it all clicks. So you see a global trend like enhanced low-light performance. What happens next? Canon responds by pouring R&D into ultra-sensitive sensors. The real-world result? Photographers in France can now shoot in dark churches or restaurants without a flash. Or take social media. The demand for authentic video explodes. Canon creates products specifically for those users, which then fuels things like the culinary photo trend. AI and automation, Canon uses it to develop things faster, which helps make powerful tech, like drones, easier and cheaper for freelancers to use. You see? It's a complete ecosystem, from the lab right down to the wedding album. So, what's the bottom line? What should you take away from all this? The new rules for success seem pretty clear. Rule 1, embrace technology. Whether it's AI editing software or getting a new perspective from a drone, you gotta use the tools. Rule 2, think like a business. The French markets show us you have to be smart about your pricing and always be looking for those new niches. And Rule 3, capture authenticity. In the age of Instagram, real stories will beat posed perfection every single time.
And all of that leaves us with one final, and I think really important question. As the technology gets better and better, as it starts to handle all the technical stuff for us, what is it that actually makes a photograph truly human? That's the real challenge, but it's also the real opportunity in this whole pixel revolution. Something to think about. Thanks for watching.